Hi, thank you for watching Digging into China. I'm Dong Xiong. If you have not done so already, please subscribe to my channel. Thank you very much. On November 28th last year, more than 2,120,000 people registered for China's annual civil service examination, a record number. The 2 million plus applicants were competing for only 31,200 vacancies, a 1 in 68 chances of succeeding landing a state sector job, the nicknamed Iron Rice Bowl. Wang Cheng'an is a 30-year-old civil servant. When he landed a job in China's civil service in 2020, he felt like he had hit a jackpot. Wang used to have a job at an auto company in Shanghai. Although he knew a career in public service wouldn't offer the same pay or earning potential, but he believed it would have other advantages: respectability, a more relaxed schedule, and ironclad job security. Yet, just 2 years later, Wang is already disillusioned with life in the state sector and looking for a way out. Wang Cheng'an is a pseudonym for privacy reasons. He told Chinese news site Sixth Tone, "I have actually found another job, but I'm still hesitating. My family doesn't support me jumping out of the civil service." What's the problem with Iron Rice Bowl? The problem is that the public sector hadn't lived up to its reputation of being a safe haven. Nearly 3 years into the pandemic, many of China's local governments are facing mounting fiscal deficits and implementing austerity measures. And those cuts are hitting civil servants hard. Wang had originally expected to earn at least 250,000 yuan a year at his new job. That was about $35,000. In reality, he estimates he's been paid just 160,000 yuan. His basic salary has been cut by 30%. His social insurance payments haven't risen as promised. Part of his annual bonus has never been paid. Instead, Wang finds himself forced to work regular unpaid overtime shifts, helping to implement the town's virus control policies and trying to cut back spending at home. His plans to trade in his SUV have been put on hold indefinitely. China's local governments have faced a perfect storm of fiscal challenges this year. The economy has slowed after months of lockdowns. Business tax cuts introduced by the central authorities have squeezed income further, and a sharp drop in land sales has choked off another important revenue stream. Property developers have been unwilling to buy land as they are grappling with an ongoing liquidity crunch, and this has driven some local governments to sell land to state-owned enterprises to try and generate some immediate revenue, even if this is selling to themselves. Local deficits in many areas have ballooned to worrying levels. According to domestic media report, during the first 8 months of the year, local government's financial self-efficiency fell to 51.7%, the lowest level in more than a decade. China's central government has agreed to transfer extra funding to local authorities, but this hasn't been enough to make up the shortfall. That has forced local officials all over the country to take drastic measures to balance the books. One county in northern China's Shanxi province announced a sweeping consolidation of government bodies, with hundreds of organizations being axed. Other governments have stepped up sales of public assets or loaded debt into hidden investment vehicles through sham land sales. But in many cases, authorities are also cutting expenditure by chipping away at civil servants' paychecks. New hires like Wang sometimes find themselves earning a fraction of what they had originally expected to receive. Ying Yu is another example. She graduated last year and moved back to Sichuan. Now she works at a local middle school. Ying says she regrets her decision to take a state sector job. On her first day, the principal thanked Ying and the other new hires of being willing to join the school and promised not to take their passion for granted. Ying recalls. But within months, the teachers found they were only being paid around half of what they believed they were owed. In August, the principal abruptly left the school. Ying says she and her colleagues are now on track to earn just 80,000 yuan this year. Their basic salary has never risen above 3,200 yuan per month, whereas teachers at other nearby schools are making nearly double that amount. Their monthly social insurance payments, meanwhile, have fallen from 3,000 to 1,200 yuan, and their annual bonuses and expenses allowance have also been reduced. I really want to quit, Ying says. The pay cut has had a huge impact on Yin and her family. She had been planning to start a family with her husband, but now she's uncertain whether they can afford to. She had also been hoping to help her mother buy a house in Sichuan so that she no longer had to live and work in faraway Guangdong province. That dream has now also died. Not every civil servant is being affected equally. There is no blanket nationwide policy regarding salary cuts, as the decisions are being taken by local governments according to their specific needs. Smaller, lower-level governments tend to be under the greatest financial pressure. Civil servants' salaries in China comprise basic salary, performance salary, and various subsidies and bonuses. Basic salaries are paid according to job position and designation, with little difference between agencies. Performance salaries and subsidies are closely tied to one's agency and the local finances. Performance salaries, subsidies, and bonuses for most civil servants in highly self-sufficient places like Jiangsu, Zhejiang, Shanghai, and Guangdong can be over 100,000 yuan. But since January, authorities in several provinces, including Guangdong, Zhejiang, and Jiangsu, asked the local state-owned and state-backed institutions to stop paying year-end special bonus and allowances. These provinces are the wealthy ones. Many civil servants in several wealthy provinces will have their annual incomes cut to 20 to 30% this year. China's broad fiscal deficit hit an all-time high in the first 9 months this year. The deficit in the budgets for all levels of government was more than 7 trillion yuan, according to Bloomberg calculations, based on data released by the Ministry of Finance in late October. That is a record for any comparable period and is almost 3 times the shortfall in January-September last year. Chinese authorities have struggled to make ends meet this year as massive tax rebates and the persistent housing market crisis have cut government income sharply. However, repeated lockdowns have meant more spending on controlling and testing people, while there has been a demand to spend more on infrastructure to spur economic growth and compensate for weak private consumption. Economic growth rebounded to 3.9% in the third quarter. The pickup was fueled by increasing investment in infrastructure, though retail sales weakened and unemployment increased. It remains unclear when local governments will be able to reverse these cuts. At the moment, the signs are not promising. Thank you for watching. Please leave a comment and subscribe to my channel. Just click the subscribe button right here. I'll see you again shortly. Until then, be well.